Hey family, and happy Tuesday. Excited to be back for another episode of Excellence in Everything Live. Listen, if you are preparing for a presentation with a decision maker, or you commonly present in front of decision makers, just have two things I want to share with you tonight to help you maybe readjust your thinking around when these opportunities come, because I know they're a big deal. We'll talk about it when we get back from the intro. I'm Linnita, hosting your podcast host of Excellence in Everything Live, and welcome and happy Tuesday if you're watching live. Let me know where you're watching from. I would love to know the city, state. If you're watching from another country, drop that in as well. I'm Linnita Hosten, and I am the founder of Vocal Value, and we equip emerging leaders to develop better communication skills at work, home, and with themselves. And Excellence in Everything Live is my weekly podcast to kind of talk about practical communication skills that we can implement in our everyday lives. And as you know, we are continuing. Well, today is actually the final episode in our series, Emerging Thought Leader. Emerging Thought Leader is someone who has the capability of having a knowledge transfer when they are in front of someone. A thought leader is someone who's recognized by their level of credibility, authority, their expertise, their depth of understanding and knowledge. And we're wrapping up that series talking about presenting to decision makers. So just curious, before you knew what tonight's topic was, or when you read the title, what did you think we were going to talk about? If you had to guess, what do you think we are going to talk about? Let me pull up our comments. Happy Tuesday, Asha. Let me pull up our comments. What do you think tonight's podcast is about? I only asked because as I was talking about tonight's topic with someone that I know what they described, I said, nope, we're not talking about that. But yes, what do you think tonight's podcast topic is about? Tell me what you think. And while you're typing that in the comments, I want to share these are 3 ways we can work together. Sometimes people hire me to coach them in the realm of presenting, public speaking, any type of communication skill that you like to develop, including negotiation, presentation skills. You can also bring me in to speak. Communication is just one of the topics that I love to teach on. Leadership development is the other. We have a host of menu of services that not only I can facilitate, but other members of the team. And then lastly, this one is my favorite because I be in it for the long haul. I love working on leadership initiatives where you have a goal, you have the talent that needs development, but you don't have the talent to develop your talent. And then that's where Vocal Value comes in. And we help to fill in that gap. I should say proposals. Okay, that was good. Presenting your ideas as well. Okay, those are great guesses. And those are not what we're going to talk about tonight, but these are great concept areas to consider for other topics. Great guesses, Asha. That gives me more content to think about next time, for next week when we come back, or next month. But listen, I think that when we're presenting to decision makers, there's a mindset shift that has to happen first. And that is remembering that we are the authority. Now, if a person whom is in a decision-making role grants you the time to present in front of them, they've already deemed what you are proposing to be worthy of their time. And sometimes when we're in front of people who could have the final say, we kind of shrink and forget that, oh, I actually am the person who has made it this far to be in front of you. So there must be some distinction about me that makes me worthy of this time. And it makes me think about how often imposter syndrome kicks in, where we start to question or have doubts about our capacity, or maybe feeling like what we do have and know is not enough based on where we arrived. And here are some examples or some characteristics of imposter syndrome. You maybe attribute your success to external factors and not to you or what God has done for you. So you say things like, oh, that was just luck, or that was just timing. You may say or express fears about being found out as like someone who really doesn't know as much as people think that you know. Like you fear being exposed for lack of knowledge, when on the outside, people revere you for your depth of knowledge. And two more, like setting exceptionally unrealistic expectations, which looks like perfectionism, is definitely also a characteristic of someone who may struggle with imposter syndrome. And here's the last one, working harder than necessary to prevent others from, prevent them from seeing you as incompetent. So going, I will say in an unhealthy way, overworking yourself as if you have to prove to those that you're working with that you are fill in the blank. Those are some characteristics of someone who may struggle with imposter syndrome. And, that's a real thing. I don't want to take that lightly. It's also something that I recently realized that it was showing up for me when I received a notice that I was being nominated for an honorary doctorate degree. And immediately some of the characteristics that I described and those thoughts popped into my head. The first thing that I said was, I'm not even old enough for that. I journaled about it, and the gratitude behind someone acknowledging your work. And that's the other thing, like when you've made it to the point of being in front of a decision maker, they've already validated like what you can bring to the table. And this is not the time to shrink or not show up as your full self. This is the time to take up space in the room. Show them that you are the expert. And this is something that you may have to maybe do before you go in. Maybe you remind yourself through affirmations. Maybe you look through your accolades and your past achievements before the presentation. Maybe you bring up some memories of past achievements that you've done related to the thing, so that your subconscious mind is programmed to see you in that achievement lens. So those are some things to think about, but you are the authority. In instances where you're presenting information that you are not the authority in, I will say you are the authority in you. Like, you should know you so well, talking about your capacity, how you can manage, how you can communicate, diffuse, or how you can contribute to whatever that is. There's a part of you that is the authority as it relates to like the content, but there's also a part of you that's the authority of just your whole being, you being aware of the characteristics and the contributions that you can bring to the table. Definitely, for sure. So Asha said, this is the time to shine. Perfect timing. I'm presenting a new app developed to my leadership team. That's so exciting. On Monday, very excited. Okay, so were you a part of the development of the app? And if so, the parts that you've developed or that you've contributed to, are those being highlighted in your presentation? Let me know that. So the other piece is, I think we should use a pyramid. And in journalism, it's called the inverted pyramid, where you This pyramid is upside down. The larger, more concrete, more in-depth details you start with first. And let's just imagine that this was an inverted, because we should absolutely be answering the questions that matter to the decision makers on the front end. So that means we have to reverse engineer why it matters to us. Why is this project important to us? And think of it from their lens. How do they benefit from this thing that you are introducing? What is it that, what will make it a win for them? Are they saving money? Are they increasing retention? Like, what's the language related to whomever you're presented to? What's their language that they recognize as success? And using that language to begin with. So what I would do is I would write out all of the things that make it a win or would label it a success to the decision maker in their language. And then I would prioritize which of these need to be shared first. Like, which of these are most pressing or most impressive? And I'd start with that. It's so easy when you are a baby, when you are building a baby, and I'm about to do this for an organization that I'm a part of. You're excited about the nuances and the features and the benefits, but the decision maker just wants to know, like, what is it? What are we expecting it to do? Who's gonna benefit from it? How much does it cost? You know, if it's helpful, look at a Shark Tank episode or some type of pitch competition and follow that same framework. What is it? Who benefits? What is it going to profit? What are the numbers looking at? Like, who else is using this? That's the same kind of model you want to use when presenting to decision makers. Typically, these are people who are very logical and they are focused on numbers and metrics. So putting it into their lens. Now, there is a small piece of this where you can have an emotional appeal. And some people will lead with that in the beginning. I think it's just important to know, if you have this capacity, to know whom you'll be presenting it to. Is it someone who's moved by emotion? Is it someone who's moved by logic or numbers? It should be tailored to them. If you don't know that person, ask some other people who have had to go before them, share an idea. What was their response? And if you don't know someone who knows the decision maker, what I would do is run the presentation by someone whom is in a parallel field and ask them, what would you reject if I mention this idea? So run through the whole presentation and then ask them, what things would you bring up, question, or reject? And our job is to provide either a solution or response or integrate some of those things that they might reject or have questions about. And in presentations, we say things like this: I know what you're thinking. If you're worried about, we got that covered. You may say, we're something like, you probably thought we forgot, but we didn't. This is how we're addressing that. So using that language to kind of signal to the decision maker that you've thought through some of the things that they would be challenged by. Asha said she developed it all alone. What? Wow. Oh my gosh. Your first one, you'll be highlighting the gaps in our organization and how the app will feel it. That's exciting. Oh my goodness. Well, definitely, they say when you have to speak in front of others, try your best to be hydrated. So if it's on Monday, hydrating all weekend, so you don't have dry mouth. You're going to get it anyway. But that would help. That is so exciting. Well, I'm proud of you. That's a big project. So using that pyramid piece. And so those are the two things I really wanted to focus on. You being the authority and thinking about that pyramid piece when you're presenting to decision makers. And the last thing that I shared, and I didn't have this in my notes, but be prepared or leave room for questions. Sometimes when we have a presentation and let's say the decision maker says, we are going to give you about 20 minutes. I would urge you not to fill that entire time with your content, but leave time for them to answer questions. Likely decision makers might be limited on time. So give them room to express their curiosity and questions. You never want to feel like, okay, well, time's up. I had questions, but I'll follow up. You want to get those questions so that you can respond to them in real time. Sometimes that's a matter of getting the deal, the sale, the approval or not. And so if you are allotted 20 minutes, I would only fill 12 of those minutes, and I'd reserve 8 of those minutes to answer questions that they may have. And if you finish and they say, well, we don't have any questions, you can say, well, I'd love your feedback. What do you think about what was presented? Because we don't want to assume that people feel that they feel or that they know to share their feedback right away. And also, I think it says something about our confidence when we're asking for that in real time. Like, who really wants to be scrutinized in real time? It will take a really strong-willed, strong, confident person with some thick skin, especially if other people are in the room. But that's what it's like to be an authority. You're aware that you're growing. Even if you're considered really knowledgeable, there's always sometimes a blind spot. And I think there's some humility associated with that too, when you can say, what are your thoughts? You can even say, are there blind spots that we missed that we can improve on? So when you don't feel all the time, you get quality feedback. And that's really great data to improve your presentation if you're going to do it again. So don't feel the whole time. Leave time for questions. And there's some questions that you know will come up. There's some that you can anticipate. If you can anticipate a question and you have a visual for it, oh my gosh, that's a great way to say, yep, we thought about that. Here's a chart that I want to show you, versus trying to fill all the time with the content. The more likely you can answer their questions. Just says a lot about your maybe ability to think through what matters to them and it being a great fit. So those are my tips presenting to decision makers. And this is something that we likely do every day. Maybe the stakes are not as high, but likely we are presenting in some form or fashion, especially children are presenting to us each day. So having the confidence to know that you are the authority, taking that inverted pyramid into consideration, and not using the entire time that an individual gives to you. Those are my tips for tonight. So tonight we are wrapping up the series Emerging Thought Leader, and you can find the complete series on YouTube in the Emerging Thought Leader series playlist. This is the last episode that goes into the Emerging Thought Leader series. As of August, I will be hitting the road, traveling to several colleges and universities, and so the podcast is going to be on someone told me, no, I look for you every Tuesday, so you can't go on sabbatical. So what we've decided to do was, what we'll do is replay some episodes from past seasons during the Tuesday night time frame, so you can still get your information and your communication high while I'll be on the road. And I hope to share some of those experiences with you while I'm traveling for the month of August. Really excited about that. Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat and I'll answer them. I see Asha's watching from YouTube. Let me go and pull up LinkedIn to make sure I'm not missing anything. Sometimes I don't see comments here. Nope, I don't see him. Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure I didn't overlook anybody. All right, well, I'm going to get out of your hair. I hope that you had an awesome start off to your week, and I will see you. Wow. I'll see you in September live. I'll see you live in September, but we'll have pre-recorded episodes for you to check out for the month of August. And then let's stay connected online so you can so I can catch you up on some of the experiences that we'll be having on the road. I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it, and I'll see you soon in September.